something was in my room, and I felt like it wanted to do me harm. I couldn't fall asleep, and I could hear my brother downstairs watching TV. It was so bad that I left my room and went to sleep on the couch and watched TV. This was probably the craziest and I guess the most scared I've ever been.
This is an emergency broadcast. This is not a test.
Welcome everybody back to the show. Today we are talking about a series of strange events that happened to Paul while he was stationed in Baumholder, Germany, a base that is notorious in military lore for being haunted. Paul is going to lay out what he experienced there and what he believes followed him home. We're in the process of getting photos from Paul regarding the incidents that happened to him, and next week we'll be showing this on an AAR, an after action report, where we'll dive a little bit deeper into the context of what happened and the evidence for it. Quick note before we get started, YouTube memberships are live, so if you'd like to get those perks, including asking questions of the guests, I'll read some of those on air, voting in member polls, and getting episodes and content before they're released, go ahead and hit join on the channel. And since you're here, please like and subscribe so you don't miss new episodes when they're released. And lastly, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, a quick rating really helps get the word out. Okay, that's it. Let's get to the interview. Welcome, Paul. Thank you for coming on the show. If for people who don't know you, could you just introduce yourself, kind of your background, and currently what you do before we get into what happened to you?
Sure. Live in California. 30 years ago, I was part of the U.S. Army infantry stationed in Baumholder, Germany. That's an old military post. The U.S. took it over in 1951 after World War II. I believe the French had it. We took it over. So very old post. Currently work in law enforcement. Almost 20 years in law enforcement.
So getting into the military, I know like Germany and some bases there, it's been alluded to in other podcasts about like haunted bases and things that have leftover like remnant, I guess, energy, if you want to say that, from like World War II, Nazi era, where they would keep prisoners. So there's a lot of history there. I guess, can you tell us how it started in terms of what you were experiencing before we get into kind of how it seemed to maybe possibly follow you?
I was 18, stationed over in Baumholder, and a little history that I learned while I was there is before we took it over, actually the Germans had a base there, and there was old bunkers and tunnels that ran under, I guess, where our base now sat. So we couldn't access that. It was all kind of corridored off, but kind of learned that when I was there about the base and post. I heard stories in the barracks being new there about, oh, this place is haunted, blah, blah, blah. Never saw anything, but I would say it probably started my, I guess, haunting experience, I'll call it, it was always centered in my room. So we had big cinder block walls that kind of was the exterior wall and hard wall inside. I'm not sure what it was made out of, some kind of concrete material. And so the experience was, it was very, very real. And when I say by that, so I'd be alone in my room and imagine somebody taking, I always say like a coin. If you took a coin and scraped it down the wall, it was that present. Like 3 feet to the left of you, but somebody in the room scraping something down the wall, that loud and adamant. And if I'd go, I now, 18, I was like, what is that noise? You'd get up and it would go away.
Oh, so you get close to the wall and it was just...
I get close to the wall and the noise, but it was that, imagine somebody 3 feet from you scraping something down the interior wall. And so then, well, that persisted through my military career, that noise. And how I knew it wasn't just me going insane is you would share rooms with other people. And through my 2 years I was over there, I had various roommates, and you'd be in the room, sitting down, doing whatever you're doing in the room, and they would say, "What's that noise? What's going on? What is that?" Jokingly, I'd say, "Oh, it's just the ghost," And then just talking to other people, people say they saw things, heard things.
Like a lot of people would say, "Oh, it's like plumbing," or it's like something. They would find something there. But for you, it was always. Like, well, did you go through those possibilities?
It was cinder block walls, and the noise was emanating from the inside of the room. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't have plumbing going down these walls. Mm-hmm. They were solid. And it was just that adamant. It was that.
And it was always the same room?
Well, it was that room that I was in. So I was in that room for the majority of my time there.
How long was that? Did you estimate that you were there for, that you were experiencing that?
For probably a year and a half of the 2 years, once I sort of realized what was going on.
Did you ever feel like when you were in the room that something was watching you, that you were being watched by something?
Well, that actually carried back with me after the military, where whatever, if, something attached itself to me or whatnot.
So stay with the military thing before we jump to that then. So when you started hearing the coin scratching or what sounded like metal against the wall or scraping, and then it lasted about a year and a half, did it ever progress or what happened next?
Sometimes you would feel like a shaking in the room a little bit. I don't know what was going on, because it was like a presence in the room. Things would kind of shake around. I laughed about it. And when I got other roommates, they would get freaked out. And to me, it was more like, it's just a ghost.
So you said you felt like something was watching. Did you get the feeling in the room that something was watching you?
Yeah, 100%. Something was in that room with me.
You know the feeling when you get someone's watching you when you can't see them?
Yes.
You know someone's like looking at you? Like, you know that feeling, right? Like someone's behind you and they're staring at you, and you turn around, they're staring at you. But you just, I don't know.
Yeah, you could
how
feel,
you know that.
Maybe I'll call the energy. Like, there's something here.
Well, you notice that because I've wondered that before, is when someone's really close to you. And I think it's a combination of, it changes the auditory how things come to your ears too. It's like it's a muffling. So like there's a weird sense that someone's near you when they are, and you can actually sense that through your senses. Did you ever get anything that pronounced, or was it more like this eerie presence? And was it always associated with the scraping, or did you ever get that when you didn't hear the sound, or was it like the scraping, then you feel it's there?
The scraping just stands out to me. That was, inside of the room. It wasn't something on the outside. And if I got up to investigate, it went away. And if I sat back down, it came back. Like it was almost...
That's so weird, playing with you.
Almost playing with me.
If this show has ever made you think differently or impacted you in a positive way, please consider buying me a coffee. It helps book guests and keeps the episodes coming. The link is in the description. Thank you for the support. And then you said other people noticed the same thing in that room. Was anything else being reported on the base, or did anything else happen?
No, I wouldn't say the base. It's a barracks. There's a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-old kids running around, doing the military stuff, drinking, and people had their stories. Like, this place is haunted. So it wasn't just me. You heard other people's stories. And I never got into it with people about, hey, do you hear a scraping, this or that? But yes, it wasn't just me reporting weird shit going on.
So then moving past that, after that year and a half or whatever, is that when you eventually left the area? Is that kind of the progression?
Well, I left the military from Germany.
Okay.
So I came back.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So that was, my duty station was over there.
Okay.
So when you left, when was the first time you noticed something else paranormal or spooky happening to you in your, wherever it was, your house, your apartment, whatever?
There was a weird event when I got out of the military. This was probably the craziest and I guess the most scared I've ever been. As a grown man, right? I remember laying upstairs, moved back in to folks, and I was up in my bedroom trying to fall asleep. I think I had school the next morning, and something was in my room. 100%. It was in there, and I felt like it wanted to do me harm. And I couldn't sleep. I couldn't fall asleep. And I could hear my brother downstairs watching TV. It was so bad and adamant that I left my room and went and slept on the couch and watched TV. There was something in my bed, in my room.
How old were you?
Probably 22.
22?
Yeah. Is this something you... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, it wasn't sleep paralysis, right? Because some people will say, like, I was falling asleep, I couldn't move, I felt the beat in the room.
No, I couldn't. I was laying there awake, and I just couldn't sleep because of it. Like, there was a presence in my bedroom, in my bed. And that was probably the only time I was a little terrified. And then I don't know why, I felt like it wanted to do me harm for some reason. Like, I felt
like the energy you felt?
The energy. Yeah, there's something in my room.
And was this pretty quickly after Germany? Like, you went from Germany having that weird experiences. Like, how long were you back before you had this kind of happen?
Probably within a year. Being back within a year is probably, it's the first weird experience I had being back from Germany.
See, that would be hard to explain anyway, because it's a feeling. It's hard to explain a feeling. You know what I mean?
That was more than a feeling. There was something in my room.
Now it's the same feeling like something's watching you, but something's physically in there with you.
Yes. Now, that wasn't just a watch. That was, again, I almost felt like it was fucking with me.
Would you say it's the same feeling you had with the coin scraping on the wall sound? Was it the same kind of, maybe more intense, but was it the same like, oh, something's here?
I never, like with the wall thing, I never was afraid. Like that element of fear never came through my body. Where in that one instance, I had this element of just, oh shit, something's out to get me.
Damn. How long did time pass before you had another experience?
The next set of things I remember was when my son was a baby. Fast forward 7, 8, 9 years. And then the first thing I can remember experience with him is I remember he had his little binky in his mouth, right? And I put it up on a counter, trying to get him away from it. I put it up kind of high, ran upstairs to do something, and he was in his little, corridored off section. And when I came back down, he had it back in his mouth. And so I'm like, that's impossible. Like, A, he can't get through the wall. B, it's up high. He can't stand yet. And he had it back in his mouth. Like something handed him. Didn't feel nothing at that time. But, maybe it's. So I would, that was probably the next time I started kind of like, oh, wow, what, how did this happen?
And I have to ask, because I'm sure I know you'll have the answer for it, but no one else was in the home. No other pacifiers were laying around anywhere.
It was just that we only took one. I call it a binky, but pacifier. He only had the one, and it was not where I put it. That's actually to me like, okay. I mean, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I never put it up there. Right? That can be explained away. So. But I know at the time it was, no, I had it up here and now it's in this mouth.
And then after that, what was the next kind of?
What I started experiencing was in my last residence. It started with me smelling like somebody was blowing cigar smoke in my face. It's a nasty, smoky cigar. And I'm whether I'm in bed at night or sitting on the couch watching TV, the smoke smell is so powerful. I thought something was on fire in my house. Like imagine somebody blowing just smoke into your face. And so that's when some weird shit starting again. The little stopwatch on the back of the door that if you it stops the door from opening up, but you flick it makes noise. I'd sit on the couch and all of a sudden one of those would go off down the hallway.
That's so creepy, dude.
And I had a buddy renting a room from me and he's like, oh, so you couldn't sleep last night? I'm like, why do you say that? He's all, well, I heard footsteps come from your bedroom down the hallway, but they never came back. And I'm like, I never left my room last night. He's all, yes, you did. At about 10 o'clock, you walked down the hallway. And I'm like, never left my room last night, this or that. And then my son, the same thing. He's all, yeah, I heard people walking around the house, but you're at work. And so now it's just not me reporting the weirdness. I have, my son, I'm like, he knows my work schedule. He's like, yeah, Dad, I thought you were at work. And I heard you walking down the hall into the kitchen. And then I went out there, you weren't there. And I realized you're at work. So,
oh man.
So
yes,
going back to the door stoppers, just because that's like, it seems like this, whatever it is like almost like toying with you, like ding, like getting you to react to things.
I feel the same way. And minus having a few scratches on me one time.
Well, yeah, I want to talk about that too.
Oh, that's a whole different.
I think that's progressed significantly.
Oh, my bad.
From
You're like
coins.
just that other time when I was possessed. I was like, really. So the door stoppers would flick when you were in bed or doing something or watching TV, and then would you ever
middle of the day watching? Yeah, and it's not like a door swung open. It was,
Yeah, people don't know who those are. It's like a spring-loaded. The old school ones were spring-loaded and had the rubber on the end, and so every now and then you could catch it, or if you were a kid and you would play with it, you could flick it and be like, ding. It's very loud and very distinct.
Loud, and yes, it's distinct.
And they don't just go off. It's not like it has to catch
some
something.
spring-loaded trap. It's
even if a door hits it, it's not going to go off.
it won't.
You have
it
to
has to
flick
be
it
pushed
Yeah.
to the side.
Yeah. You have to actually manually
That's-
mess with it like a.
And it's where you're sitting there and you just hear it going off. He's back.
And so to
And
confirm
it's
though,
funny
you had no animals. You had nobody was like messing with you. That you ended up
nobody in the
finding out?
house.
Okay.
And so I get to the point, seems a little psychotic, or I'll talk to it. Oh, I know you're here. And then I have friends like, don't acknowledge it. You should never acknowledge it. I'm like, eh.
I mean,
I did in the military, so I guess I'll do it now. Well, I guess that's a good segue. Is like when you've acknowledged it, does it stop?
No. Whatever, like, when I really started acknowledging it is when I could smell the smoke, like that heavy, dense, nasty cigar smoke. And I'll, if I'm in bed and I wake up and it's there, I'll make a comment like, okay, I know you're here, leave me alone.
oh, that's weird.
So just,
And does it go away when you say that?
no, it goes away when it wants to go away.
So to clarify now, obviously, just to set this up. So there, at this point in your house, you have no crosses on the walls. There's no Bibles anywhere, right? You don't have any religious anything in the house at this point.
Nothing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. For everybody watching, what is your religious background? If it obviously it's none or an atheist or whatever it is.
I wouldn't say atheist. I would say I'm spiritual. I'm not a Sunday churchgoer. Never been baptized. Went to church a little bit as a kid, but I am spiritual. I do believe there's more out there. What it is, who am I to say?
Have you ever messed with occult stuff? You ever done Ouija boards or seances or any kind of like?
Now it's an interrogation.
Well, I mean,
No. Well, I'm not. I'm just like, besides being in that weird kind of historically
as a
haunted
kid,
barracks.
As a kid, didn't we all do a Ouija board as a kid, or is it just me and my friends?
Just you, bro. I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, it's the one you can buy them at Toys R Us.
I think we've done it. Yeah, they sell it as a toy. I think we did it once as a kid, and then we did it once older. Recently, we were talking to a psychic medium, but other than that, we've never done it. So I think virtually everybody at some point has done it. Yeah, but you didn't do anything chronic where you were like,
not at all. I wasn't trying to summon spirits, so
hey guys, it's 12 o'clock. Let's go.
No, not part of any cults.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so fast forwarding back to the door stoppers getting flicked, cigar smoke in your face, which is like, that's gross. I know, because like, I don't know, was it like when you get really close to someone who's been smoking and it smells like an ashtray, or was it the actual smoke smell?
Like a dirty ashtray, almost like a dirty ashtray smoky scent.
Dude, that's creepier to me, because when you are near someone who has just smoked, it smells like an ashtray.
Disgusting.
It's like it's on their breath. It's not the actual smoke itself coming from the cigarette or the cigar. So you would say it's the ashtray smell?
And it's very heavy. And I've never smoked in my life, and no smokers in my house. So let's just establish, we should establish that. Yeah, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
Never smoked.
And no windows were open where somebody outside was smoking. It was coming in your room or anything like that?
Well, it was so bad I walked outside. Like, is something on fire? Is my house on fire? Is something burning? When like something like, the big fires, and you can kind of smell the smoke in the air from a distance.
Yeah.
You can't see it, but it's so, those large fires, it's so bad you can smell it from 50 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's about that heavy of a smell.
Jeez.
And that's why I thought something is on fire outside. It's coming through the house. But when it started repeating itself at a different times of the day, that's when I sort of noticed. Well, that's when I Googled. I looked it up. I'm like, hey, what's this, heavy, dense smoke I smell? And, online it says it could be a demon
Oh.
going down that.
Well,
And then were you like, just like the mouse click froze? You're like, X out.
Well, no. Well, honestly, to me, it just made more sense. If there's something like, okay, this makes sense that I can smell this and maybe there's a presence. So to me, it just kind of started putting the pieces together. Okay, how am I smelling this out of nowhere? Whether it's in 2 p.m. or 2 a.m, I wake up to it. Nothing's on fire. I don't smoke in the house. What could this be? And that's when I started. Oh, and that's when I had somebody come and do a little holy water and a Bible and next to my bed.
anything else between this point and you having someone come over to do the cleaning of the house, or was it just that?
After that, I sometime in that we'll call 3, 4, 5 year period when this is all happening, there was a morning I woke up getting ready for work, and I had 3 scratches down the front of my chest. Nobody's on my bed, not a dog. And that's when I realized, oh shit, where'd I get these 3 scratch marks from? I remember I sent you got the picture of those.
You sent us the pictures. Is it okay if I put them up on this?
That's fine. Yeah. You still have them?
I saved him to a special folder on my phone. No, I might not. So you might have to send them again, but Tim might have them.
I have them.
Okay. Yeah. And so I woke up to that.
I save them to a special folder.
Yeah. So that was weird. Again, I didn't feel anything in the middle of the night. Nothing. I didn't feel like I was attacked. I just noticed them when I woke up. But and they were fresh.
Now, did you know what that meant at the time or no?
No. So I didn't. Maybe was I scratching myself, but you know, it would be a big kind of a red mark. This is a very fine,
because that's the Holy Trinity. The mocking of the Holy Trinity.
It's how I think you mentioned.
That's what it is. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. It's mocking that. That's why it's in 3s, and that would freak me out because I've always known that, and I'm like, ah.
So there's sometimes like I would wake up. And you could tell if you had a hand somewhere or a handprint on your hand, because you've been sleeping in a certain position. So this wasn't, at least, I mean, a skeptic would say you can't be sure you didn't scratch yourself at night. You just itched yourself real hard. What would you say to that? I mean, do you think it's possible, or do you think like, no, just the way it looked, the way it was moved, compared to my hand?
Anything's possible. I'm not saying a ghost came in there and scratched me up. I just look at it as, okay, that would happen all the time if I did it to myself, right? I'd scratch but it was just very fine like marks. It wouldn't
like a
be
sharp
scratch, because a scratch, you'd be scratching, right?
Uh-huh.
Not 3 lines down your chest. But again, sure, could have done it to myself.
But would you say that because of everything else, you had a different viewpoint of it because of the cigar smoke and the store stops?
When this occurred, it was on my chest, I believe. That's during that time where the smoke was constant, the smoke smell, and it was because all that happened in probably like a 1 year, where the doorstop, somebody walking down the hall, the smoke, the scratch, that was all in about a 1 year period where there was a lot of, we'll call it activity going on.
Did you ever feel like something was getting in bed or not getting, that sounds a little.
No, I never. I always joked to like, I hope you're like some former hot stripper, like, just this is my personality, right? As I'm.
Well, the cigar smoke isn't a good sign.
Yeah, unless you work in some
cigar smoking stripper,
some old classy kind of boutique strip club back in the 50s. Yeah, you see where my imagination goes.
Yeah, sounds like you might have had a dude in there, but
yeah, well,
didn't you mention once that you felt like something jumped on the bed and you went and hit the side of the bed?
I did feel something was in bed with me, and when you're kind of in between awake and asleep, and I'm like, oh, there's something in my bed, and I knew I was alone, and I went to hit it, like, somebody's in my bed, but I can't say, was I awake? Was I asleep?
Yeah.
But I felt a physical presence in my bed where I could feel it. Again, was I awake or asleep?
So you just don't put the same weight on those because you weren't sure if you were awake or not?
Yeah. How can I, because as you're doing it, you're waking up or you're half asleep and, you're, all right, sure, there's nothing there. Was I dreaming?
Well, was that during the same time of all this going on?
Yes, that was all during this, the heavier activity.
And this is what led up to you contacting someone to come in and check it out. And who was this person? I know you have to say their identity, but like, were they a priest or were they just kind of like us?
Just it was a friend. She, at the time when I was talking to her, she had mentioned something like, you need to get your house blessed. And I know she gave me, there's not a seance, but something I could say to ward off evil spirits. And said, you got to say this, you got to say it with conviction, you have to believe it. I got, she gave me a Bible and some holy water to put at my bedside.
And did she come over at all and do anything too? Or was it just you?
No, I never had it like my house blessed or anything. And nobody came over and did anything like that. That was just her giving me that and saying, hey, put this in your bedside.
Did it help?
No.
So what happened after that?
So the smoke smell continued. I don't remember having any more marks after that, enough physical marks. And I recently moved probably 6 months ago into my residence now, and I haven't experienced anything here. None of the heavy smoke. I don't believe I've experienced none of the heavy smoke smell. I haven't heard anything walking around.
Did you bring the Bible with you and the crosses and everything? Yeah, see? Now
you're insurance.
Yeah. Yep.
And did you bless the house you're currently in before you moved in?
No, I should.
Well, it's a good sign you haven't had anything happen yet.
No, that's how I look at it too. I'm like, okay, maybe he didn't follow me. My brother lives in the other residence I was in. I just make a joke, there might be a ghost wandering around.
Oh, does he say he experiences anything?
I haven't actually talked to him about it yet.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I downplay all this, but actually I should ask him if he's experienced anything.
Yeah.
If maybe it's a house thing and not a me thing. If it is a thing, right?
What would you say if I guess, asking you now that you kind of explained your situation, what would you say, what was your guess be of what it is or why you tended to be focused on, or do you think it's a you thing or do you think it's from Germany or what?
I do. I think it's a me thing, just sort of doing my own homework and how all this plays out. I think it's a me. I think, again, I'm not crazy or anything like that, but a little bit, but aren't we all?
Well, I think for you guys, for people, I think most people know it's like as a cop, you have to pass psychological tests. So you've had some kind of vetting for your mental state. It's not like usually you're some guy on the internet going, "Hey, I had all this stuff happen to me."
No, I think I'm pretty level-headed.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of sounds crazy. If I would say, "Hey, I think something in Germany attached itself to me," if that's a thing, and then came back with me to the States because it was never there before. Mm-hmm. And my first ghostly experiences happened in Germany and they've continued since. So if that's a possibility, if this is really ghostly or is it just me?
Mm-hmm. And so you had nothing happen all of your childhood up until Germany.
Nothing until Germany. That's my first ghostly experience.
And would you say this experience has made you, when you said you described yourself as spiritual, would you say that experience kind of like nudged you that way, or were you kind of having those feelings anyway?
Well, I think it sort of validates that, for me anyways, that there's more out there than, our normal physical presence when we do pass on. Mm-hmm. That sort of a little validation for me.
Well, it's like what we just talked about. My wife's friend, I just found out all about this, how their house has been, we're going to try and get them on, find out more info about how their daughter's seeing things in the wall of their kid's bedroom. There's activity. They sent me a video of some breathing on one of their cameras in the living room. Stuff happens. And, for those of you, like my wife's from Peru and then her friends are from Peru. And he had some activity in Peru as well at a house he lived in. So again, is it like, did it come, you don't know if is it attached to the house? Is it, because I guess it started right when they moved in.
You don't know the history of, you may not know the history of the house or where you, before you move into it. And so I don't know. I definitely 100% believe there's life after death. Based on that alone.
All the interviews we've done now with people and all the similarities between all the different stories. There's something going on. There is something there for sure.
I think people get hung up on terminology and labels and like the traditional view of God. Some people just really hate religion because of bad childhood experiences or whatever it is. But if you really get down underneath it all, like it's not far off from even science and like quantum level and things you just don't understand about that and consciousness. And just to think that we know everything about reality, it just seems so silly. Like even if you don't want to put the demon label on stuff or whatever labels you want to use, it seems like there's something there that we just don't understand. And what that means for the afterlife and everything else, who knows? But there is something there. And it's, a lot of times just looked down upon. But it's just, to me, it's more about people just have a really hard time accepting what they can't see or measure.
Yes.
Because your mind can't wrap, you can't wrap your mind around it at all. So everybody dumbs it down to what they can understand, and some people are dumber than others.
Well, I think
and they just
I think religion does that too. It's like they try to make it black and white for people to kind of adhere to and follow and like understand. Like you can't make it. I mean, if you just go, hey man, this is so complex, we have no answers, we don't know what it is, and it's kind of scary because things can kind of pop in and out of it. I don't know. To me, that makes a lot more. There's a lot more like perceived danger there, and I don't think people seek religion for comfort and like structure.
Well, people don't want to be scared. Most people don't want to be terrified of something they can't control, and demons will scare the shit out of anybody.
Or just
control,
or just some consciousness level or something there that just doesn't necessarily have your best interests or manipulates you or like doesn't
like a demon,
really,
like a demon.
Yeah, you call it a demon, but I mean, people think that's why I just talked to the last guest who was like just the horns and hooves is like something that people just think of when you think of demons, but it may not look anything like that, and it could be just this thing that doesn't have a physical form, and it can appear to you in any way at once. A UFO, an alien, a demon, you know what I mean? Like it just picks out what you are going to resonate with and then does that, you know? So a last question would be, if you could take the other side of it and think of just a prosaic explanation that was like, oh, it's nothing supernatural or weird, it's just this happened. Could you think of anything through all your experiences that you could make an argument for? Or do you think this is just, it's too odd to even attempt to do that?
I'd say it's just too odd to attempt to do that. I'd love to be able to fucking pinpoint it and say, this is what's going on. This is why it's going on, but I can't, you know, I'm not smart enough.
It's his boyfriend from Germany.
You
might want to cut that out. You can cut that out.
I'll cut out the angry boyfriend from Germany.
Yeah, kind of like that line.
All right, Paul, thank you so much for coming on and telling us your story, and I appreciate it. If you have anything else happen to you, you have to come back on and talk about it.
Definitely will. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you to Paul for sharing his story. And remember, if you have a first responder story or a personal story, you can find the links below to fill out a form and potentially have yours aired on the podcast. You can remain anonymous if you wish. Next week, we'll be having an AAR, an after-action report where we dive deeper into Paul's story, the evidence for it, and photos that we have dug up. So keep an eye on the community tab and our socials.